Johnny Storm, the fiery hot Human Torch of the Fantastic Four, isn't just Marvel's scorching hero. He's also a hopeless romantic whose love life has blazed nearly as bright as his powers. He has experienced 4 major relationships, all overwrought with passion, confusion, and deception. Here are the 4 great loves of the Human Torch. One of the Human Torch's earliest and most memorable romance is sparked during a chance encounter linked to the Fantastic Four's first meeting with the enigmatic civilization known as the Inhumans. Nursing a recent heartbreak, Johnny Storm wandered the streets of New York City under moonlight. That's when he spotted her, a young woman who seemed as timid as she was beautiful. As Johnny approached, she shrank back instinctively, and then, without warning, a powerful gust of wind surged around them. Johnny quickly realized the woman herself was its source. Intrigued and undeterred, he gave chase, his flames flaring to life. Seeing him ablaze, the woman lit up with surprise and delight. "You have hidden powers too," she exclaimed. Reassured by his presence, she introduced herself as Crystal, believing they shared some secret heritage. Johnny accepted her invitation to meet her family. He would meet the Inhumans, a secluded race of genetically enhanced beings, descendants of ancient experiments by off-world aliens. Their society, cloaked in mystery, resided in the secret city of Adelan and was governed by a majestic royal family, led by the silent but commanding King Black Bolt, his queen Medusa, and their loyal, teleporting canine, Lockjaw. Crystal, Medusa's younger sister, had undergone the rite of Terrigenesis, a transformative exposure to the Terrigen mist that awakened her elemental gifts. With dominion over earth, air, fire, and water, she could conjure towering waves, sculpt stone with precision, summon blazes of fire, and ride the wind and fly. This meeting marked the beginning of a powerful connection between the 2 superpowered youths. That first encounter with Crystal blossomed into a sweeping adventure, one that took the Fantastic Four deeper into the mysterious realm of the Inhumans and to their veiled homeland, Adelan. As the team uncovered the secrets of this secluded society, Johnny and Crystal grew closer, their initial spark kindling into genuine affection. But their idyll came to an abrupt end. In a moment of impulsive desperation, an Inhuman dissenter activated a formidable energy barrier that sealed Adelan off from the outside world. The Fantastic Four barely escaped, their exit closing just behind them. Crystal, trapped within the shimmering wall alongside her people, was suddenly lost to Johnny. Left standing on the other side, heart heavy, Johnny vowed somehow he would find her again. Sometime later, King Black Bolt unleashed his full power to shatter the barrier and liberate his people. With their homeland open once more, the Inhumans began to explore the wider world. Crystal accompanied her family to Europe, yet her heart remained with Johnny Storm. After seeking her sister Medusa's permission, she resolved to reunite with him. Mounted on her teleporting canine companion Lockjaw, she crossed the ocean and emerged in New York City. There she found Johnny and soon took up residence in the Fantastic Four's Baxter Building headquarters. In the weeks that followed, Crystal aided the team on their adventures, immersed herself in earthly life, and nurtured her growing bond with Johnny. Crystal officially became a member of the Fantastic Four, stepping in for the Invisible Woman as she cared for her newborn son Franklin. After an extensive run fighting alongside the team, Crystal suddenly fell gravely ill, her inhuman physiology unable to withstand the modern world's pollution. Reed Richards' diagnosis was stark. Only a return to the clean environment of Adelan, among her family, could save her life. Devastated, Johnny Storm begged for another solution, but Crystal faced the harsh truth. With tearful farewells to her teammates and the man she loved, she departed for the Inhumans' refuge, leaving Johnny heartbroken once again. Later, Johnny Storm again crossed paths with Crystal when the Fantastic Four mounted a daring mission to save Adelan. Face to face once more, Crystal recoiled as Johnny confessed he'd hoped their reunion would rekindle their love. only to learn she'd moved on with the Avengers' resident mutant speedster, Quicksilver. She explained how, during one of her teleportation mishaps with Lockjaw, she discovered Quicksilver grievously wounded after battling a giant robot. Compassion led her to bring him to Adeline to keep him safe. As she nursed him back to health, their friendship deepened into love. Johnny, furious and betrayed, demanded to know which man she truly chose. Through tears, Crystal admitted she didn't know. Enraged, the Human Torch lunged at Quicksilver, igniting a fierce clash while Crystal pleaded desperately for them to stop. Crystal pleaded for space to sort through her emotions for both men. Johnny, consumed by anger, shot back that any hesitation meant their romance was over. After the Adeline mission concluded, they met in private, and Crystal gently confessed that her heart belonged to Quicksilver. With a heavy sigh, Johnny accepted her choice and formally closed the chapter on their relationship. Over time, Johnny came to terms with Crystal's love for Quicksilver, and he was even a special guest at their royal wedding in Adeline. The ceremony featured guests from across the superhero community. In the years that followed, the newlyweds settled into married life and, with help from Mr. Fantastic delivering the child, welcomed a daughter, Luna, into the Inhuman royal family. While Johnny Storm was still in college, he began dating a vibrant young redhead named Frankie Raye. Hoping she would get to know him for himself, Johnny kept his Human Torch identity hidden. But when the crazed vigilante, the Crusader, went on a rampage in the city, Frankie witnessed Johnny ignite in full blaze as he took off to handle the crisis. Johnny reluctantly revealed who he truly was to Frankie, as he learned of her objection to his life as a superhero. Johnny even considered quitting the Fantastic Four to save their relationship, but the call to heroism was too strong. In the end, duty pulled him back into action and their romance fell apart. Months later, fate reunited them. Johnny and Frankie tentatively revived their relationship, balancing campus life and superheroics as best they could. Then, one afternoon, Frankie stepped from her shower and caught sight of a form-fitting gold bodysuit clinging to her skin. No matter how often she took it off, it returned. Frightened, she shared this discovery with Johnny. She shared with him she couldn't remember her life before her teens. She could only remember waking up one day nude, amid the remains of a warehouse explosion. Using faint memories, she found her childhood home completely empty, and later began receiving mysterious weekly checks for thousands of dollars. Frankie admitted she never questioned the source of the money because something in her mind told her to accept the circumstances. The money stopped arriving near the time that she first met Johnny, where she felt instant attraction to him, though discovering that he was the Human Torch revolted her because of her fear of fire. Still, she was fixated on him because she felt his arrival in her life was activating a strange breakthrough for her. Johnny now encouraged Frankie to search her mind for answers. Then her entire body suddenly started to glow. She burst into living flame and cried out, "I remember," as she soared into the sky with the Human Torch chasing after her. Her mind now clear, she could remember her history. She was the stepdaughter of Professor Phineas Horton, creator of the original android Human Torch, Jim Hammond, the hero of the Golden Age in the Second World War. After World War II ended, the android torch was deactivated and the government seized most of Horton's research, deeming his creations too dangerous. Determined to rebuild his life, Horton remarried and became stepfather to a young girl named Frankie. But when his wife suddenly passed away soon after their wedding, he was left alone with the child and turned to drinking to dull his grief. Years later, Horton's bitterness reignited when the Fantastic Four burst onto the scene, and Johnny Storm proudly claimed the title of the new Human Torch. Convinced his work was unfinished, a now teenage Frankie accompanied her stepfather back to his abandoned laboratory. As they sifted through dusty equipment, a rotten floorboard collapsed beneath Frankie while she carried a barrel of chemicals, igniting an all-consuming fire. She did not burn. Instead, she became one with the flames. Instinctively, she willed the fire to subside. Horrified by the unintended consequence of his ambitions, Horton resorted to desperate measures. He hypnotized Frankie, wiping away her memories of the accident and much of her past, while implanting a crippling fear of fire. He would leave her alone in their empty home and began sending regular checks to support her from afar. Horton also sent her a package with a gold costume and a tape recording. In the recording, he reinforced the hypnotic commands and instructed her to put on the costume as it was meant to help control her powers. The message went on to instruct her to destroy the tape. Her fire powers caused the costume to vanish, seemingly absorbed into her body. Now fully activated, Frankie was ready to embrace a new freedom with her powers and a relationship with Johnny. Desperate to help, Johnny brought Frankie to Mr. Fantastic for an examination, who confirmed her flame abilities mirrored Johnny's perfectly. Reed offered to train her alongside the Fantastic Four, teasing they might expand to the Fantastic Five. Frankie took part in several team missions as an eager trainee. Everything changed when Terex the Untamed, Galactus's former herald, seized Manhattan, demanding the Fantastic Four help him destroy the Devourer of Worlds or watch the city be destroyed. United with other heroes, the Four forced Terex and Galactus into a stalemate, but the battle left Galactus near death and unable to traverse the stars alone. Determined not to let Earth become his next meal, Reed Richards scouted distant, uninhabited worlds for Galactus. Too weakened to journey himself, and having lost Terex's guidance, Galactus seemed doomed. Then Frankie, having recently educated herself about Galactus from the Fantastic Four's archives, volunteered as his new herald. She urged Galactus to grant her the power cosmic so she could lead him to safe feeding grounds. Despite her friend's pleas, she was transformed and rocketed into space as his new herald. Johnny gave chase as the Human Torch, but his flames sputtered out at the edge of the atmosphere, ending their romance among the stars. Thanks for watching the video. We briefly wanted to share this with you. Light up your collection with the Human Torch. From Gentle Giant Ltd. comes a blazing 1/6 scale mini bust of Johnny Storm, sculpted with fiery precision in translucent resin. Standing 7 inches tall, this limited edition masterpiece, only 2,000 made, captures the Fantastic Four's flame-wielding icon in all his glory. Includes a numbered certificate and full color box for the ultimate display piece. Flame on and claim yours before they burn out. Check the link in the description box for full details. Since you are enjoying the video so far, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Now back to the show. The Puppet Master was a criminally insane supervillain who discovered a mound of radioactive clay and learned to sculpt it into lifelike figures. Once fashioned, each puppet granted him total control over the subject's mind and body, allowing him to wreak havoc across New York City. From a previous marriage, he had a compassionate, blind stepdaughter named Alicia Masters, who yearned to help her stepfather however she could. Determined to destroy the Fantastic Four from within, the Puppet Master devised a scheme to control Ben Grimm, the Thing. During the development of her stepfather's scheme, Alicia grew close to Ben, sensing the gentle soul beneath his rocky exterior. But when she discovered her stepfather's true ambitions, to conquer the world with his mind-shaping clay, she confronted him. Igniting a physical struggle, the Puppet Master stumbled and fell through an open window, apparently to his death. Free of her stepfather's shadow, Alicia became fast friends with the Fantastic Four and soon fell in love with the Thing. As a gifted sculptor, she found endless inspiration in his rugged form, never judging him for his stone-like appearance. After the Fantastic Four were swept into the deep space, superhero battle royale known as the Secret Wars, Ben chose to extend his journey among the stars rather than return immediately to Earth. Alicia was heartbroken, but found solace in Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. Drawn together by shared loss and Johnny's infectious warmth, they formed a bond that blossomed into a full-blown romance. Months later, when the Thing finally returned to Earth, he raced to Alicia's apartment only to find Johnny half-dressed standing at the door. Consumed by rage, Ben pounced on his friend, certain Johnny had betrayed him. Alicia burst into the fight, slapped Ben across the face, and declared that her love for Johnny was real, born during Ben's absence among the cosmos. In time, Johnny's courtship of Alicia grew serious, culminating in a marriage proposal and a request for Ben to be his best man. Initially furious, Ben's resentment melted away after a heart-to-heart with his friend, the She-Hulk. Realizing Johnny's sincerity, he agreed to stand by his friend on the wedding day. They planned a small, private ceremony to avoid media glare, only to have the puppet master, still very much alive, planning to crash the event with a deadly plot. He intended to seize control of Ben and force him to kill Johnny at the altar. But, seeing Alicia's joy and remembering his love for her, the puppet master faltered. He let go of his vengeance, and Alicia and Johnny were married in peace, a union that would endure for many years. Until, from a distance, the puppet master watched his stepdaughter with growing alarm. Ever since Alicia married Johnny, something in her had changed, and his paternal instincts ached to know why. Determined to get answers face to face, he concocted a desperate scheme. He would lure Alicia into his grasp. He fashioned a puppet of Marvel Boy, the mutant telekinetic member of the young superhero team, the New Warriors, and seized control of the young hero's mind. Under the puppet master's thrall, Marvel Boy burst through Alicia and Johnny's apartment window and, without warning, overpowered Johnny and swept Alicia away. Caught off guard, enraged, the Human Torch ignited and gave chase. Their pursuit drew in the rest of the New Warriors, and soon the Fantastic Four answered the Torch's frantic call. A colossal battle erupted in the streets as Reed, Sue, Ben, and Johnny fought side by side against their unwitting adversaries. Meanwhile, the puppet master cornered Alicia in a nearby alley. He spoke gently, but Alicia recoiled, his voice alien to her ears, and refused to leave with him. In that moment of shock, his focus slipped, and Marvel Boy broke free of his control. The heroes regrouped, realized they'd been manipulated, and zeroed in on the puppet master. With a final trick, he unleashed a hulking monster to cover his escape. The Fantastic Four subdued the creature in seconds, and Johnny dashed to Alicia's side as the puppet master escaped. Back at headquarters, Reed unveiled a new security measure, a brain scan device to detect and block future mind control attempts. Alicia hesitated. What if the technology was unsafe? Sue soothed her fears, pointing out they'd trust the same device with their own child. A dubious Alicia submitted to the scan. That night, Reed discovered odd anomalies in the data. Alone in the lab, Ben Grimm caught a shadowy figure rifling through the equipment. The thing gave chase, but lost the intruder, and Reed was certain the answer lay in Alicia's brain scan results. Later, as Ben pondered the mystery outside, the puppet master emerged. He claimed only to worry for Alicia's safety, insisting his love for her transcended all else. Ben listened, if reluctantly. Later still, while Johnny and Alicia were settling into a night together, suddenly, Ben attacked in the team's headquarters, targeting Alicia. Both men were convinced the other was under some malign influence as their fight grew more violent. Alicia panicked, darting for cover as the battle raged. Cornered by Ben at last, she begged him for mercy as he demanded she show her real self. And in one breathless moment, she confessed the truth. To the shock and disgust of the entire team, Alicia revealed herself to be a Skrull. Furious, the Human Torch demanded to know where his wife was and how long this charade had been going on. Mr. Fantastic echoed the plea, insisting that their Skrull guest explain herself. The alien woman took a deep breath and revealed that her name was Lyja. For years, the Skrull Empire had tried to conquer Earth, only to be repeatedly thwarted by the Fantastic Four. In desperation, the Skrull's high command devised a plan to destroy the team from within by planting one of their shapeshifters as a spy. Recognizing that perfectly mimicking superpowers was too challenging, Captain Pybok proposed impersonating Alicia Masters, a close friend to the powerful quartet. Lyja, a low-ranking officer with no combat experience and a former lover of Paybok's, was chosen for the mission, leaving her to wonder whether she'd been selected out of spite. Lyja spent months preparing for deep cover. She adopted Alicia's appearance and wore special lenses to simulate blindness, training herself to navigate without sight. She studied every scrap of information about Alicia's life, then waited in a hidden outpost near Earth's moon for the perfect moment. When the Fantastic Four disappeared into the Secret Wars, the real Alicia was abducted, and Lyja slipped into her place. Upon the team's return, Lyja froze at the sight of She-Hulk standing in for the Thing. The plan had been to get close to Alicia's boyfriend, but now Ben was off on his own cosmic adventure. Thinking quickly, Lyja refocused on Johnny Storm. What began as an assignment to be his confidant turned into genuine affection. They fell in love and, against all odds, were married. Johnny was livid, refusing to believe he'd wed an imposter. Lyja swore the emotions were real and dropped her biggest bombshell yet. She was pregnant with his child. Reeling, Johnny sought fresh air outside. Ben joined him, revealing that Mr. Fantastic was already planning Alicia's rescue. Johnny admitted that despite the deception, he still cared for Lyja. The Fantastic Four launched a deep space mission to the Skrull War world. Lyja came with them, much to Johnny's reluctance, as they streaked toward the Andromeda Galaxy. Their covert infiltration failed almost immediately, igniting a pitched battle with Skrull warriors. Watching the Thing defeat a Skrull, Lyja was reminded and saddened that they had once trained together at the military academy. She seized the soldier's weapon, but instead of shooting Ben, she defended him, felling an enemy soldier. Johnny, watching from afar, realized Lyja might truly be on their side. As the team gained ground, Paybok, now genetically augmented with superpowers, arrived to face Mr. Fantastic. Ben urged Reed to sabotage the war world's core rather than engage in combat. Reed escaped through a ventilation shaft while Ben, Sue, and Johnny battled the Skrull militia. Paybok targeted Sue, and Lyja winced at the thought of how kindly Sue had treated her as Alicia. When Paybok turned his weapon on Johnny, Lyja's panic and love for Johnny collided. She leapt into the blast path, taking the full impact herself. Johnny raced to her side as Paybok dismissed Lyja as a traitor. Furious, Ben crushed Paybok under rubble. Lyja lay weak and restless. Johnny asked her why she would sacrifice herself for him after he rejected her. She confessed there was no baby. She'd lied to keep him from abandoning her, and apologized for every deception. Johnny tearfully told her he still loved her as her life slipped away. Suddenly, Warworld trembled as a panicked Skrull cried out that the nuclear core had been sabotaged by Mr. Fantastic himself. In an instant, the fortress became a ticking time bomb, and the team sprang to evacuate. Johnny Storm hesitated, desperate to carry Lyja to safety, but her lifeless form left no room for hope. They met up with Mr. Fantastic carrying Alicia, whom he'd freed from a stasis pod. The team boarded their ship and launched away as the war world detonated in a fiery cataclysm. Aboard their ship, Alicia regained consciousness. At the sound of Ben's voice, she smiled and leapt into his arms, grateful they were back together, as Johnny Storm watched in silent anguish. When the team finally returned to Earth, the real Alicia was shaken to her core by the haunting reality of her alien imposter who had usurped her life and even deceived Johnny into marriage. The Invisible Woman tried to ease Alicia's re-entry into her old life, offering support and comfort. But Alicia, overwhelmed, declared that everything Lyja had established during the deception should be given away or destroyed. Johnny, who overheard her plea, was devastated. It was the final confirmation that the life he thought he'd built with Alicia was truly gone. As it turned out, Lyja and Paybok survived Warworld's destruction. Paybok would nurse Lyja back to health. He went on to subject Lyja to genetic enhancements that biologically weaponized her with offensive energy blast powers. Consumed by rage over Johnny Storm's presumed abandonment, Lyja joined forces with Paybok, embarking to Earth on a revenge quest against the Human Torch. Stalking Johnny to the university he was attending, Pybok launched a surprise attack. And although Johnny held his own against the Skrull warlord, he was blindsided by a blast from behind. It was Lyja, now vowing to destroy him for leaving her in the destruction of Warworld. Johnny swore he believed she'd perished. Suspicious this was another ruse. Lyja insisting she was the real thing, she went on to confirm that she actually was carrying his child. Cornered and desperate to contain the chaos, Johnny ignited in supernova, only to accidentally burn down the campus. Lyja continued stalking Johnny Storm until she was accidentally swept into an adventure with the Fantastic Four to face an upgraded Doctor Doom. Forced to fight alongside the Torch and his teammates, she had to abandon her schemes to defeat Doom. Amid the battle, her old affection for Johnny resurfaced. When they returned to the team's New York headquarters, she chose to stay, realizing her feelings endured. Lyja and Johnny set out to rebuild their bond, especially now that she was carrying his child. During a mission with the Fantastic Four, Lyja unexpectedly went into labor, despite showing no outward signs of pregnancy. Rushing her to a hospital, the team was stunned as Lyja delivered not a human baby, but an egg. She explained that Skrull biology differs radically from human norms, yet assured Johnny that this was indeed their child. Confronted with impending fatherhood, Johnny found his priorities shifting. He even began to consider stepping away from the Fantastic Four to raise the child with Lyja. But as they waited for it to hatch, Lyja quietly wrestled with a new secret, one she wasn't yet ready to share with Johnny. When the egg finally hatched, it erupted into a writhing, tentacled monstrosity that lashed out at the Fantastic Four and their allies. Only after a brutal struggle did the heroes subdue and destroy it. Stricken with guilt, Lyja confessed the truth. This was no child, but a biological weapon Pybok had secretly implanted in her to annihilate the team. With the threat neutralized, she reached for Johnny, hopeful they could now embrace their love and build a real family. Instead, Johnny's eyes hardened. Feeling exposed and humiliated, he rejected her outright, declaring her treachery unforgivable and vowing he could never trust her again. Disillusioned, he even considered quitting the team. Though the Fantastic Four welcomed Lyja's continued association, she chose to leave. Johnny alone had given her a reason to stay. Johnny resolved to move on and began seeing Laura Green, a fellow student at his university. He had no idea that Laura was another carefully crafted guise Lyja used to keep him under her watchful eye. Despite this dark secret behind her origins, Johnny found himself attracted to Laura. She returned his interest in kind, and before long their casual meetings blossomed into a tender new relationship. At the Invisible Woman's insistence, Lyja rejoined the Fantastic Four, determined to prove her loyalty and earn her teammates' trust. With Johnny back among the active roster, she harbored a secret hope that her Laura Green guise might soften his heart and reclaim his affection. On the eve of a critical team mission, Johnny stole a moment to meet Laura. She wanted to reveal her true identity, but Johnny gently insisted they wait until his return. Their parting kiss crackled with unspoken tension. Johnny felt doubtful, and he offered only a confused farewell. During the mission, Johnny confessed to the thing his lingering unease about where things stood with Laura. The mission was a success, and the Fantastic Four returned to Earth. Lyja took Johnny aside and admitted she'd been posing as Laura Green. Johnny revealed he recognized her from their last kiss, and confessed his affection for her still persisted and was ready to move forward together. Those plans never materialized after the Onslaught crisis saw the Fantastic Four seemingly sacrifice themselves to save Earth. With Johnny and his teammates gone, Lyja chose to put the past behind her and begin a new life on Earth. It was later revealed the Fantastic Four managed to survive the Onslaught incident and return to Earth. Johnny attempted to reconnect with Lyja, but had no luck finding her, and they would never reunite. Until, during the secret invasion, the newly crowned Skrull Queen launched an aggressive campaign to seize Earth. She set in motion a covert, years-long infiltration of the planet's superhero community. During that time, Shape-shifting scrolls quietly replaced key heroes with perfect imposters, undermining Earth's defenses from within. During the height of the Skrull invasion, both the Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic were captured and detained by the enemy forces. Posing as Sue Storm, a Skrull infiltrator gained access to the Baxter building and activated one of Reed Richards' experimental devices, triggering a dimensional rift that swallowed the headquarters, sending the Thing, Franklin and Valeria Richards, and the Human Torch into a strange new realm. Confronting what he believed to be his sister, Johnny demanded answers for the sudden transport. As she fumbled for an explanation, her demeanor betrayed her, and Johnny's instincts confirmed the chilling truth. This was not Sue. As their tense exchange unfolded, Johnny uncovered the startling truth. The woman before him was Lyja, cloaked in disguise. Tensions exploded as the former lovers clashed. Lyja now wielded a powerful upgrade, genetically altered to withstand Johnny's flames. Yet, in the heat of battle, when Johnny shielded Lyja from harm, buried emotions reignited. Their rekindled bond led to a passionate kiss. With trust newly forged, they chose to join forces, and Lyja aided the Human Torch, the Thing, and the children in devising a bold strategy to find their way back to Earth. In a rare moment alone, Lyja opened up to Johnny, revealing the path that led her here. After the Fantastic Four vanished in the wake of the Onslaught event, she adopted the identity of Laura Green, building a quiet life in New York City as a bookstore clerk, immersing herself in human culture and slowly becoming open to love again. But one day, a Skrull Imperial agent found her, declaring the Empire's urgent need for her return. Fearing the agent might harm civilians, Lyja complied. Back among her own, she was pressed to rejoin the Skrulls and accept a mission: eliminate the Fantastic Four, the Skrulls' greatest obstacle to conquering Earth. She agreed, but ultimately chose the dimensional transport not as a weapon, but as a way to shield Johnny and his family from the invasion's wrath. With this truth revealed, the team rallied to chart a course back to Earth. Lyja, however, chose to remain behind, unwilling to be a pawn caught between worlds and needing time alone to rediscover herself. Johnny pleaded, but her resolve held, and so they parted again, seemingly forever. In an alternate timeline set in the not-too-distant future, the world hails the heroic ensemble known as the Fantastic Five, now led by Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. At his side stands Lyja, his wife and trusted teammate, embracing the mantle of Ms. Fantastic and wielding her formidable shape-shifting abilities. Together, they've raised a son named Taurus, a spirited young hero in the making who has inherited a fusion of his parents' powers. Idolizing their legendary exploits, Taurus dreams of carving out his own place among Earth's protectors, ready to follow in their footsteps. Who do you think burned Johnny the worst? Does the marriage to Alicia even count? By the way, what is that thing on Crystal's hair? Really? Is it a fancy barrette or hair coloring? Help us out. Whatever your thoughts are, please share them in the comment section below. Please subscribe to this channel and share the videos. Click the bell icon to be immediately notified of new releases. You can also support the channel by visiting the links in the description box below. Until next time, this is the place to receive your regular dynamic dosage.